Hi, and welcome to the latest in Digital Spy's video reviews of the biggest movie releases around. This time we're looking at X-Men Dark Phoenix. I'm Ian, and according to numerous online quizzes, my mutant power would be telepathy. X-Men Dark Phoenix is the latest attempt to bring the Dark Phoenix saga to the screen. If you haven't seen X-Men The Last Stand or read the comics, it basically revolves around Jean Grey, who, after an incident in space, absorbs a cosmic power that leaves her feeling better than ever and more powerful than ever. Problem is, she can't control it, so the X-Men are ending up facing their most dangerous foe yet, Jean herself.
This is the end.
Charles, what did you do?
I had to keep her stable. I protected her.
From the truth? There's another word for that.
First things first, X-Men Dark Phoenix is a lot better than X-Men The Last Stand. It's a more faithful retelling of the comic storyline, although it does still leave out some major elements. The problem is that you'll kind of end up leaving it thinking, well, that was fine. It's well made, but it's just another retelling of a story we've seen numerous times in many superhero movies.
I came looking for answers.
You feel like you don't belong here. You don't. They can't begin to comprehend what you are.
She's changing.
And what?
You didn't come here looking for answers. You came here looking for permission. Jean.
The best part of the film by far is the action sequences, especially in the third act, which was completely reshot. They're well made, the special effects are really good, and they're quite intimate and grounded. We're not talking Avengers Endgame huge sequences here, but that works in Dark Phoenix's favour. You care about the characters because you've been following them for 2 decades now, and they're just the best part of the film by far.
She's all rage, pain, and it's all coming out at once.
Jean lost control, but she's still our friend.
This is your fault, Charles.
One of the biggest issues with Dark Phoenix, though, is that one of those action sequences ends in a tragic event for the X-Men. It's a huge, shocking moment that's been spoiled in the trailers already, but we won't spoil it for you here just in case you've avoided all that. The problem is, if you know it's coming, it's robbed of any emotional connection, so what should be a must-talk-about moment that you must go and see in the cinema, you already know, so it doesn't really make you want to go and see it.
I'm sorry. I didn't stop it sooner.
You're always sorry, Charles, and there's always a speech, and nobody cares.
There's still hope.
Elsewhere, the film is missing these kind of big must-see moments as well. And that just makes the whole revealing of the spoiler in the trailer just a bit pointless in retrospect. And another of the biggest issues with X-Men Dark Phoenix is the fact that, like in quite a lot of superhero movies recently, the villain just isn't that good. Jessica Chastain doesn't get to do much with her mysterious shape-shifting alien character, who does have a connection to comic lore, but again, we won't spoil it here. But all she's there for is to give a little bit of exposition of why she wants Jean and why she wants to team up with her and take her powers, but she's just so underdeveloped and gets nothing to do that when it comes to the huge third act and Jean faces a choice between siding with this villain or going with her family of the X-Men, there's just not that connection or emotional edge that there should be, or that Simon Kinberg is trying to get you to do.
Don't do this.
They're right to fear me.
I've seen evil. And I'm looking at it now.
The same thing could be said for most of the other X-Men in the film. James McAvoy, Michael Fassbender, Jennifer Lawrence, they all try their best, but essentially there's not that much development of their characters that we didn't already know before. James McAvoy gets to play some fun bits of Professor X being a bit of an egomaniac and wanting to be liked in the press, but that's about it. Michael Fassbender is just Magneto, he's brooding, he's off on his own island, and then he comes back eventually to show off his powers. When they team up, it works in action sequences, but there's just not enough of the drama outside to make you really care that much. Along with the reshoots, you're left with a feeling that a lot of this movie has been left on the cutting room floor. Simon Kinberg's been talking about how he needed 4 hours to tell the Dark Phoenix saga on screen, And while they wouldn't have got to do that with the Fox Disney deal going through, this is definitely a film that would have benefited from being longer. At just over 1 hour and 50 long, the pacing is rapid and you won't be bored, but it comes at the expense of actual character development that you would care for. The other thing that reshoots have done is delay this film from November 2018 release to now. And the problem that's left the film in is that there are some unfortunate parallels with both Captain Marvel and Avengers Endgame. There's one key third act development that's being basically ripped straight from Captain Marvel. We're not saying Dark Phoenix ripped off Captain Marvel, it's just unfortunate that it follows because you just know that this particular moment has been done better in a more recent film. Just leaves you with this feeling that X-Men Dark Phoenix, as well made as it is, just doesn't bring enough new to the table. It feels like the superhero movies of 5-10 years ago and doesn't feel like the game-changing Avengers Endgame. That doesn't mean that it could have been Endgame, of course, but it just needed to do something different to battle all of the negativity pre-release. At one point in the film, Magneto literally says, "Nobody cares anymore," and you kind of feel that'll be the problem with X-Men Dark Phoenix. Released any other time or before the Disney Fox deal went through, you might have cared a bit more, but now that you know this is the final X-Men film, Dark Phoenix just doesn't do enough new or bring anything to the table that makes it a must-see cinematic experience. But that doesn't mean it's a bad film. It's good, we'd give it like 3 stars, but it's just another superhero film that's well done but doesn't do anything else.
Are you threatening me?
That's right.
That would be a bad idea.
X-Men Dark Phoenix is now out in UK cinemas. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more of Digital Spy's video reviews. Thanks, bye.